Welcome to Garage Gym Athlete Ask Me Anything. It's pretty simple. I'll be answering questions from the thousands of athletes that follow our daily programming. If you have a question or topic you want submitted, go to garagegymathlete.com/AMA. Let's get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Not too much, man. What's going on today? What do we got going on today?
I think we're talking about basically how to PR Murph, right?
Yeah, how to knock Murph out of the park.
Yeah, how do you do well at this workout? How do you think you do well at this workout? How do you do well at this workout?
It's like a question within a question. What I do?
Well,
I was just thinking,
there's how do you
do
think,
well?
and then there's how do you actually do it. So there's two questions.
So preparing ahead of time for one. So we're just gonna so there's no actual question to the leading up.
No, we're just how do you PR Murph? We're just gonna get into how you PR Murph.
All right, so definitely, if this means that you've already done the workout a few times, several times, you've done it in the past year, or in the so that's why you're PRing it, because you already have one set. So you know what the workout is, and you know you're mentally prepared for it, or you're preparing for it. So physically preparing for it is what you need to do now. So if you already have your game plan, as we've said before, going from, once again, Murph is running a mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups, and then running a
300
mile.
Squats.
Yes.
You said sit-ups.
Okay. Way different, way easier. Yeah. Getting messed up now. And you can partition those as much as you want. And the unpartitioned version of Murph isn't necessarily official. It's just if people want to make it harder and go longer. But if you want to crush it, then yes, partition. Typically the best way to do it is 5, 10, 15, meaning 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 squats. And that's how you can go as fast as possible. So you have your plan in mind. And I think preparing the weeks in advance, the weeks leading up to it, is going to be a huge benefit to what you're to getting there. And if you're not doing a lot of push up and squat volume now, then this is the time to add it in as much as you can. And one thing that especially that we've done in the program in the past, and then now on the Murph burner track, is to do the Murph practice 20-minute workouts, or Fested Cindy. And these make huge difference, which is 20 minutes of 5, 10, 15, that same breakdown, but wearing a vest. So what you would do, and really your goal would be to hit 20 rounds into the 20 minutes, but you go in as much as you can with that. And just speaking from doing the Murph burner now, from week 1 to week 2, I added like 35 reps to my score. So over a round, I fit in the 20 minutes, just going from one week to the next. And then this week I will probably add more. And that's usually how it works, because adding that volume will help get you through the muscle fatigue so much more. And even like from that change from week 1 to week 2, my muscle fatigue was so much better. It was more about the cardio aspect, the breathing aspect, and grip with the pull-ups. But so that makes a huge difference. So adding the volume in now is going to make such a big difference. And you can do it any which way you want, whether it's in your workouts or push-up grids and squat grids, because once you hit that fatigue level in the workout, it's going to be hard to go further or to go faster, to keep your pace. And then you're going to get more winded because you're so fatigued. So add the volume now in the next couple of weeks. Every little bit helps. What's your tip? What's your next one?
Yeah. So this is assuming I won't get into the prep work as much as Joe did, because that's all the same stuff, I would say. So you do need to prep ahead of time. If you want to get faster in the miles, start some zone 2 training, and then do that for about 2 years. And then your mile times will be a lot faster. And so that's how you get faster mile times. And then occasional speed work as well. So anyway, getting into the actual workout stuff, there are some little things that you can do here and there. One, if you're a big heart rate monitor guy or gal, ditch the heart rate monitor during your Murph PR attempt. And I'm a big heart rate monitor fan, but I don't want to see it if I'm going for PR and Murph. I'm not interested and my watch telling me I'm in zone 5, because personally, I'm going to get in my head. I'm going to be like, dude, you need to back off. You need to slow down. And that's not the mentality I want when I'm going for a PR. That's the mentality I want when I'm training. I train 364 days out of the year. One day, if I want 1 day per year, if I want to hit Murph as hard as I can, then I'm going to go for it. And so just our take on intensity, it's not something that you should do all the time. It's not something that you should do every single day. But when you are going for an official PR, go for it. Okay. In no way should you hurt yourself or whatever, but go for it. So, me personally, knowing as much as I do about heart rate zones and everything else, I don't want to see my heart rate at all if I'm going for a Murph PR attempt. I want to just, I want a standard like stopwatch on my wrist, like Timex Ironman traditional, and just like, okay, all I'm doing are lap times. I want to see how fast my mile was. I want to see how fast every single round of calisthenics is. And that's the only thing input I want in my brain. Speed up or slow down, speed up or slow down. Those are the only things I want to be thinking about as I go into it. And so uh, that's a big one. If you do enjoy the heart rate monitor stuff, just go as hard as you can. On the push-ups, I used to brief this to, um, let's just say, personnel in the Air Force before PT test, because I would do everything I can to help people, squeeze out a couple extra reps, to get a better score on their PT test. And on the push-ups specifically, don't lower yourself to the ground. Okay? Like, don't, like, you need to kind of fall. So you might need to practice this a little bit, because I'm not saying just like fall and hit your chest on the ground every single time, but you should not be lowering yourself slowly to the bottom. Most people who've served in the military at all already do this. Um, and they might not even know it. Like, Joe, you probably do it. I don't know if I've ever actually watched you do a push up, but you probably do it, just because we know if we're going slow on the way down, that's just extra fatigue. That's extra stuff that we don't need. And when you're taking a military PT test, the only thing that matters is that up. They're not doing anything on the down. They don't care about the down. And so practice that a few times. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying just fall down. I'm just saying don't control it so much that you are fatiguing your muscles unnecessarily. That doesn't work as much on the pull-ups, because if you are doing a kipping pull-up and you have no control on the way down, you can end up hurting your shoulder, or worse, you're just kind of like getting locked or jerked into a position. And then the squats, um, I mean, you can kind of do the same thing with the squats. Like, don't slowly lower yourself in the squat. Try and like get down in that bottom position and shoot out. But the big tips I give, I've given before also in the calisthenics, is pull-ups are going to be hard. Push-ups are what they are. You're going to fatigue wherever that may be. Squats is where you will lose all the time. I already told you how to get faster at the mile. Go run zone 2 for 2 years, and then also add additional speed work, and then you'll get a lot faster mile times. It's not something you're going to do on the day of Murph. So if you want to get faster in Murph, do not be a little baby on the squats. Okay. You need to do the squats as fast as possible, and they need to be unbroken every single time. And I highly doubt that you're actually running into this reason that you actually need to stop. I had this pointed out to me when I was in the military, very early on, when we would just do brutal workouts that someone else was leading. We'd either be doing squats or lunges, and I don't think this guy was like the most qualified fitness instructor in the world or anything, but he would always say, he's like, there's no like real reason you can't do another lunge or you can't do another squat. He's like, unless you just fall over from ridiculous muscle fatigue, like, and you can't actually get up anymore, the only reason you're not doing another rep is because you have selected to do so. It takes a very long time for a human to be able to not squat anymore. Now, I don't know where your fitness level is, whoever's listening to this. So, with an asterisk, this was being said with very fit individuals, when I started my military career. So, take that with a grain of salt. But I do think that when I watch people do squats, there's like this, they open the hips and then they have 3 or 4 seconds, and then they do another one, 3 or 4 seconds, walk around after 10 squats. And okay, what are we doing here? As fast as you possibly can, unbroken every single time. That's how you need to do the squats. That's where you make up all your time. And to be honest, if you just implement that one little tip, you're probably going to PR your Murph time. Granted, if everything else is the same on your mile times. So that's calisthenics if you want a PR. And then again, I always say it on that last mile, you need to go as hard as you possibly can. And I've, I mean, I've had some like rough last miles, you know. You push yourself to whatever you feel comfortable, but I've pushed myself to levels where I'm not sure I'm going to stay conscious on last mile. So maybe just like right below that, not that hard. Um, and see where you go. Cause I've been to those points too, where I think there's like no way you can go harder. And then you actually push to that level and then you find out that everything's okay. And it's like breaking a barrier. You're like, oh, I can live here. I can live in this space. And most people just don't want to get there because it's uncomfortable. Um, but I think that's about it. Don't go too fast on the first mile. Joe, I think you recommended, and it wasn't in this episode, but you recommended like 80% of your
85
mile.
to 90%
Yeah.
of your mile PR.
And I agree with that because I know it can give me a no chance at hitting a PR or a slower Murph time, and that is going too fast on the first mile. I remember one time I did like I don't even remember what it was. I think I posted on my Instagram several years ago, but it was like a 5:20 or something stupid. Like I did a 5:20 on my first mile, and I was like, I'm gonna PR, and I did a 5:20, and one of the slowest Murph times I've ever recorded because I literally like close to PR'd my mile time, and then I had 100 pull-ups to do, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and another mile, and my body just wasn't having it. It was like shutting down. It was like not going to happen. So go a lot. Pace the first mile. Okay, like I think 90%, like you said, Joe, that's probably good. But don't try and PR it because it will ruin the rest of the workout. At least that was the case for me. Not I think that's about it. Like make sure everything's like close. Like I have a pull-up bar that's right right at my grip, like at my reaching height, if you will. That way
Not that your previous house where you had to get on the stool and then jump up.
yeah, yeah, that slows you down. That slows you down quite a bit. So if you have like a high pull-up bar, you want a pull-up bar that's like just within reach. I mean, we're talking about the minor tactical things here to
Yep.
make sure that you get that PR. And so the minimal reach on the bar, and then just drop right from that bar and the push-ups in place immediately to the squats, all in the same place. Like there should be no walking around to different locations. It should be all one spot, and you get those calisthenics done as fast as possible, and then do whatever you can on the miles. But I think all said and done, that's about as tactical as I can get with the doing. Now the mental side of it, you just have to go there. You know, I kind of talked about this. You have to go there. Like there is no stroll in the park PR. Like this happened to me when I was trying to PR mile times over the last couple months. Is like you feel like you put in all this training, and so you should just go out to the track and PR that mile, and then you're 6 seconds slower than you thought you were going to be, and you're like, oh well, yeah, you didn't try. You didn't try as hard as you possibly could. And then I tried again, and then I PR'd my mile. That's you can't do that. Even if you've been training, there are a lot of athletes listening to this doing the Murph burner track. It's great. You've been training for it. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to do amazing. I think for some, if you had like a crazy time, like a bad time, you will. But if you're trying to shave off seconds or just a minute here, you're going to have to put everything you got. And so go there mentally and make it hurt.
So just last couple things for me. Another game plan that I do when I'm trying to PR or go as fast as I can is since I do the 5, 10, 15 split, that's 20 rounds of those for calisthenics. At the 5, 10, and 15 mark is when I reapply chalk. And because basically I know I can do 5 rounds with the chalk that I have. So it's right there and I just reapply it real quick because, if you start to slip or tear, then you're just not going to be good. But I also know that I don't need to reapply chalk every 2 to 3 rounds because that's just an excuse to be taking a breath and taking a rest. So I know I have it every 5 rounds because then I can also break it up to, okay, reapply now, 5 more rounds, and then I get to reapply again. You get a couple of breaths then, but it's only those 3 breaks. And then if you really want to and try this out, like with all the research and studies we did on the podcast, at the 10 round mark, halfway through, maybe do a carb rinse. Try that out. I did that recently when I did I did a Murph a couple months ago, and it actually made a huge difference because I usually do it fasted anyway. But that carb rinse really made a difference.
Yeah, and one thing so not a sponsor here at all, but I recommended it on the podcast, and then Chris Morgan started doing it. The supplement / electrolyte drink Liquid IV. So the reason that one specifically, because what I typically drink, just to show that there is no actual sponsorship or whatever, is Noon. I like Noon because it's an electrolyte drink, and I use that a lot in the summer, but it only has 1 gram of sugar, which is great. That's what I typically want, especially if I'm just drinking it during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But Liquid IV has like 11 grams of sugar, and it's still like soup. It's like non-GMO. It's like organic cane sugar. Like it's a really like clean supplement overall, but 11 grams of sugar is quite a bit if you're just sitting on your ass, in front of a computer or whatever. But it's not a lot if you're about to do Murph. And so either have that like right before, I'm not talking like right before you start, like 30 minutes before, 15 minutes before, something like that, or make that your drink during. Because if you're running into any sort of like energy level thing, it probably is just food related. Because for me, I'm in zone 4, zone 5 that entire workout. That means I'm burning primarily and predominantly sugar, just sugar. That's what my body is. It's burning glucose. It's not really, it's moved away from fat oxidation at that point. I'm burning sugar, and I need sugar. And so if you are metabolizing sugar, your body can use it pretty fast. So Liquid IV is one that I do like. And you get that 11 gram sugar shot, and that should help you out. And like I said, Chris said that it was helping out a ton in his Murph project of doing 52 in the month of May. And it's helped me out a lot with different workouts I've been doing as well. So that's a not sponsored recommendation there for supplement.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out because I've noticed I need that about halfway as well. Because I've gotten nauseous a few times because I've been fasted and then I'm going at high intensity and I just got nothing left.
Yeah, your body's got nothing there. Like this is, I mean, we get a keto conversation, everything else, but your body needs glucose if you're going to be at that high intensity level. There's no way around it.
Yeah. And I think that was it. I know that the insane amount of air squat volume that we've been doing on the Murph burner workout is made air squats a breeze when doing Murph practice. Like that's probably the easiest part now, which in the past it's like, yeah, you kind of after a while your legs get a little heavy, you get a little fatigued, and your heart rate's going up, and it still jacks the heart rate up because they're air squats, but like it's still like smooth like butter the entire time. So
yeah, it's something that you can get very accustomed to. My brother's been training with me recently, and I had him do the 5-minute test. I also programmed this on BCT, so it's 5 minutes of a bunch of different types of calisthenics, just as many reps as you can possibly get in 5 minutes. And we got to the air squats, so we're doing this together, right? Because it's 5 minutes on, a couple minutes rest, and then we get to the air squats, and we're like 3 minutes in, and he just starts laughing, and he's like, "You have not stopped." And I didn't stop. I did a squat continuous and fast for 5 full minutes. And he was like taking breaks because he's not in the greatest shape at the moment. And he was like taking breaks every 15 squats and 20 squats and all this stuff. And he's like, how on earth do you just do squats that fast for 5 minutes without stopping? I'm like, just a lot of practice. There's nothing like special about me. I've just done a lot of squats. I've done a lot of Murph. Like, you can just do a lot of squats. Your body can handle it, but you do have to get accustomed to it. So
yeah, so that's huge. But those are all our main tips to crush Murph, at least for me.
Yeah, that's all I got. Try hard. That's the last one, and just go faster. All right, that's it for this one. If you want to ask us a question, go to garagegymathlete.com/AMA and submit your question. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up and a comment. Let us know how we're doing. And then if you're on your favorite podcast player, 5-star review, positive comment really helps the show out, and we would appreciate it. That's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed today's Ask Me Anything episode. So one more time, if you want to submit a question, topic, or idea, you can do so at garagegymathlete.com/AMA. And hey, while you're there, if you haven't already, sign up for Garage Gym Athlete membership. We are the best community and programming on the internet. I dare you to try and prove me wrong.